So welcome again, dearest friends, and as you see, we are again a little bit late from the schedule that we were informing you. This is afternoon here in Finland, and we are talking about mythology a little bit. Tervetuloa kaikille nyt tähän meidän iltapäivän ohjelmaan, ja ollaan taas vähän myöhässä, mutta täällä tapahtuu koko ajan niin vauhdilla asioita, että näyttää siltä, että ei oikein ehditä tähän lähetykseen. So, tämä tulee nyt kaikki englanniksi. Olen pahoillani siitä. So we are talking in English. And so this series belongs to our Mystery Week programs of the Blue Rose Sisterhood. We have been talking the whole week about initiations, and our mythological aspect of that is trying to elaborate something from the perspective of mythology. So let us remind this something, because we want to support women to take their stand and understand their pathway and what is the dharma of everyone, but now take a hook from one's own neck and start to really to take the responsibilities and the way that we are making the change in the world. And let us listen what Padmasambhava said. I read that in the first day, during the first day. Whether male or female, there is no great difference. But if a woman develops the mind of enlightenment, her potential is supreme. And I think it is this relationship when we think about that. For some sense, women are expressing the wisdom side of the life, and then men are expressing the love side of the life. But we never can think about black and white way. We have to really understand a little bit vaster ways and with understanding. So when we talk about the mythology in relationship to third degree, and when we think about all these legends, so why it is important, or is it important to study myths and legends? Is there any point? Onko siinä mitään järkeä lukea myyttejä ja legendoja? Yes, people are saying yes. Right. How it is important and why? Archetypes, good point. Yes, very good. And Winnie, what you were saying? Right. Yes, because the mythology is about, it's a pictorial story, so it's allegorical, and it's a concept of things. So it is giving us a lot of information, and it is depending upon us. We have to develop the intuitive mind, and studying the mythology of in different cultures, you see also these similarities. For me, that is one of the most fruitful things, to see similarities all around the planet, everywhere. So that is giving us this proof about that, what DK is saying and has said about the first temple of Ibis, from where everything is like, or started, the teaching started from there millions of years ago, 17 million years
ago. And Master Moria says that every legend is true.
That's right. So, and when we think about our lives, we are also a legend. We become a legend. 1 second. You cannot believe how hot it is here in Finland. I'm really, literally pouring sweat. and the sun is behind us. It's burning, but that is again great metaphor. Can you find the reason why? Fire time, yes, but also continue that. There is a fire time. The Leo is the fire sign. What else? Purification. Okay, sweating out all these toxins. It is very true. but that is a serious time. And what is serious? How serious is called? In many ways, of course. One of the name of Sirius is the scorcher.
Scorcher, yeah, it means such intense.
Kärventäjä.
Such intense heat that it damages whatever it touches.
Yeah, and that is about the fire, the higher fire which is burning out everything which is unholy. Sirius makes mundane holy. And when we are having these times of the full moon in Leo, it has direct relationship with Sirius, and Sirius is very, very powerful during this time of the year. We will talk about Sirius after for a while. First we go to Pallas Athena because, and of course there are other goddesses and asteroids that I could have been taking, but I just chose Pallas Athena because we have been thinking about initiations, and Pallas Athena I was choosing for a particular reason. Can you find the reason why? Does anybody have any idea? Fighting. You said fighting? Okay. If you think about a third degree, so what is the center for the third degree? What if you think about evolution? What are the things what we take care of in first degree? Sorry? Oh, right, but if you think about the control, because the soul tries to control now the lower worlds. So in first degree, we take a control over what plane? Etheric, right. So we take care of some of the old patterns, and the soul takes the rulership in the etheric field. We say physical, but it's more in the etheric. The certain patterns has to be changed. So what about then second degree? Emotional, yes, and then mental. And why we talk about Pallas Athena in relationship to mental? Yes, because she is smart one, but does nobody remember? Michael? How Pallas Athena was born? She was born from the head of Zeus.
This was before ibuprofen. If Jupiter had taken ibuprofen, there would be no Pallas Athena.
You know, it is the story tells about that the Zeus got headache, and then appeared Pallas Athena.
Well, that was after Vulcan hit him on the head.
Oh, there are different stories.
Okay, well, I like the one where Vulcan smacks him on the head, and then out comes Pallas
Athena,
Yeah.
right? But the Pallas Athena is coming from the right side,
Okay,
from the
different
temple.
stories.
Yeah, there are different stories, but these temple sites are those sacred sites and holy sites of us. You know, you remember that there are wings coming out also from the temples. And the kanji is coming out from the right side of Shiva. So this Pallas Athena jumping out from the head of, oh gosh, it is already Zeus. I have to a little bit hurry up because it's already 20 past. So Pallas Athena is expressing about these energies which are concentrated to head. And in that sense, when you think about the third decree, you can look your Pallas Athena, where is the Pallas Athena in your chart? Because she is the goddess of wisdom. And in my opinion, asteroids are also those which come more powerful in the life of disciples. That they are in everyone's chart, but for disciples as the constellations, there is a little bit the similar thing, that they give the concentration or energetic impulse to those points where we have them. And then Pallas Athena has helmet. So what is helmet? Protection, okay. Veil, yes. That is a form of veil, like the feminine. Oh, and I forgot to put there the veil you normally see, that mother is veiled. So the helmet, when it is this kind of very concretized veil, she is the one, as you know, that she is also the goddess of war. But this helmet was related to truth. So she has, Michael, the earlier image, if you put that still, the spear. The
spear, I got that.
Yes, the spear is said that is the spear of knowledge. And the helmet is the helmet of invisibility. Invincibility is that you
cannot be conquered.
Yeah.
Invincibility.
But it was also that she is not seen.
Invisibility.
Invisibility, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she is not seen. And there are again different stories how her helmet was done, but in one of them Vulcan has made the helmet. Meaning that the will in Pallas Athena is very strong, spiritual will. So if you try to find from your the placements from your chart, I am recommending to look where your Pallas Athena is. Every single Michael.
Yeah.
Do you have this slide now?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Here we see Apollo and the chariot of Apollo. If you study the mythology, you see that all of those divine beings, deities, they have some kind of vehicle, which is telling about the quality, how they are intervening, or what was the word, Michael? Not intervening, but interference? Intervening. Is that the divine is
less disruptive?
Right, how the divine is intervening the lower. Yes, so they intervenes. They access to these lower worlds with certain kind of ways, and they have certain vehicles via which they are accessing. Like the Apollo has the chariot, and then these white horses, the fiery horses. So Pallas Athena has certain vehicles for her. One of the main vehicles is the owl. Owl.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And someone here wrote, Anne Veronica wrote that she came from the head of Zeus, so mental plane control, and the control of the chakras on the head, she says, and of course there's also in the head as well. And
Right.
Veronica made a comment. I just
Right, good. Thank you,
that in.
Veronica. And welcome, Nia. Come here. We got a new person coming. So,
a little warm. Just a bit. Yes. Please come in.
so we are talking about Pallas Athena and Pallas Athena arriving. Yes. So here we look those vehicles. and point that owl, because you see owl in many of the relationship in many of the goddesses. Nia, I know about our relationship with the heat, so this is less heat position. This is sun is shining there. So anyway, do you remember that Lakshmi has also owl as the vehicle for her? But Pallas Athena has very interesting relationship with the owl. The owl is the bird of wisdom, but in her case, the owl is representing the dark night. So in that sense, Pallas Athena is related to dark night of the soul. When we think about the initiation process, and the third decree is particularly named about this dark night, or if we don't count now the fourth decree, but we are not like going further than third decree. So and that is interesting to that would be an interesting place to study how the Pallas Athena is functioning in our charts in those times of the crises, because she is the goddess of wisdom. She is the goddess of truth. And that's why in this image you see, first of all, you see the helmet. Then you see behind her this, what is the secret sign of all of those who are related to the sun. When you see this sun disk behind them. And you see in many of the goddesses, in Egyptian myths, you have the sun disk. And here we have the sun disk behind her. And the night, as you see the stars, because she is really particularly related to the times of the night, which are the initiatory areas for us to study. Then we have the olives around her, and she had a fight. Was that with it wasn't not with Aries. Now I have forgotten what was the god that she had the fight, and she was able to plant the first living tree, which is like the expression of the tree of life, which is again one of the symbolism of the third decree, that we become the tree of life, because we are not anymore from the ground or from earth, we are from the sun, and that's why the tree is living, because through us is pouring out the prana from the sun. So that's why there is this, how do you call, Michael, that garland of olive trees?
Oh, yes, what's it called, the laurel, or the garland or laurel.
Right.
And on the head of the victor.
That's right. And that's why those in Olympics from Greek time, they were given this laurel
or garland, yeah.
Right. What was this relationship with the Pallas Athena of the wisdom, and all of also this because if you can force yourself through these strenuous times in sport, it means that you have been able to take the Pallas Athena with yourself. So Pallas Athena is behind you when you have the victorious moments. That's why you were given this living tree with you. And then the serpent there, that is one of her symbols. And when you study all of these feminine symbolism throughout the countries and cultures, serpent is very often related to the wisdom of feminine women wisdom. In Egypt, the serpent was the symbol of the woman, or feminine. So these are her symbolism, and important to look that the serpent is around the spear of knowledge, that she is never using the spear just to fight, but she is fighting for the knowledge. So she is the bringer of the real teaching or real knowledge. So here we have the coin from these Greek times where you have this owl of the dark night. And the owl is the symbol who was appearing when the Pallas Athena was coming. So she is the great protector as well. So she was the protector of Athena, and she was the protector of the. You see that she was over the city, directing the people, moral side of human life, because she is one of those virgin goddesses. It's very often the goddesses are virgins. And what does this virginity, do you say virginity, indicates? Spiritual purity, did you say that? Yeah. What else?
A lot of power, because virility, virginity, it's all saving the power and really...
So yes, it is it is indicating that when the virgin power is that pure spiritual power, spirit from spirit, and soul is looked, that soul is virgin. So all of these goddesses, the limbs who had been said that they had been taken the oath of celibacy or
Chastity.
Yes. How do you say that?
Chastity.
Chastity, exactly.
And they don't fall into duality. This is a big thing.
That's right. They are in duality, but they are not dualistic. They are holding this pure, and they are standing for that purity for others.
Same thing with the word monk.
Mm-hmm.
The first three letters are monas, monad, one.
Right, exactly, the same idea. So that here we see the serpent. Somewhere it is said that she is standing like Mary is standing on the serpent, but I don't remember so much about that. Very often the serpent has this knot, as you see, where how it is in her at the feet. The serpent has it's a certain way of crawled, and it has a particular meaning of that, because the knots that is interesting also, that the knots are very much related always to the feminine side. So you have the knots in Druidic tradition, you have knots, Mary's knot related very specially to Mary Magdalene. The Isis have knots. Who was then in Hinduism there are goddesses who have those knots. Lord Maitreya have a certain way how the scarf is put. So these knots have relationship to these. They are initiation statuses. So the knot is formed in different way, and then you were knowing what status that particular priest or priestess was. And then thinking again about Aries, Mars. Mars was always challenging Pallas Athena. But Pallas Athena always won. There is not even one single battle that Pallas Athena would have been winning. And I mean that the Mars would have been winning. Pallas Athena always won. And that's why, because she is the spirit. She is the spiritual warrior. And Mars is the personal warrior. Or soldier, however we say that. So study that if you have relationship with the Mars and Pallas Athena in your chart. So Pallas Athena should be more valued and looked more. How Pallas Athena is functioning in our charts, and that wisdom what comes Pallas Athena, and what wisdom she is carrying. So she is the goddess of truth. So there is a great point wherever the Pallas Athena is in your chart. Look that. So how you should be bringing the truth forth in that area of life. There's something going on here in the.
Yeah, we're just going to make it so she can see.
Ah, okay.
Because the illustrations are helpful.
Okay. So anyway, let us remember these things in relationship to Pallas Athena, and you know, here in Finland we have one mountain which is called Pallas. So I am just throwing you a joke, which is not totally a joke. Please come with us, so we will go and meditate on Pallas Athena. It's in Lapland, over the Arctic Circle. Very beautiful area, energetically fantastic. So Pallas Athena in Roman mythology is Minerva, so they are the same. But we have to move on because we should be finishing in 20 minutes, so we will go now towards like a different category. Now what we have been talking about, these goddesses, they are like in lower category than now whom we are talking about, Isis. And
I've got to be able to see, and the sun is so...
just the next slide, Michael.
Yeah.
No?
What number?
14.
Oh, no.
Did you show 13? There was Minerva.
Yes, I showed 13, yes.
So what about...
This one says mythological interpretations. I have it.
Yes, Isis. Isis.
Okay.
So Isis is related to Sirius, of course. She is Sirius, but in coming from the myths of Egypt, and then when the Romans were, they had very strong relationship to Egypt, and then also Isis was taken to their goddesses, and there is something about the symbolism of Isis we talk a little bit later. But her temples are here and there. They are found in several... It's the next, Michael. Just go... Do you see now better? Okay? Yeah. So these temples are in several places because she was really known in a particular time in the history after Romans, and in Egypt she was her rulership was over the Egypt. Here we see the hieroglyphs of how Isis was written, and you see the throne. The throne is very important. You cannot see very well. I don't know how does it show there in the streaming, but Isis on the right, this figure, you see the throne on the top of her head, and from that you realize, if you see this kind of Egyptian goddesses, you can mix them, but you can always find Isis because she has the throne upon her head. She has several kinds of symbolism, but that is one. And now you see, when you look the hieroglyphs, you see there the serpent or the baboon. So she has this like the throne, and then the rising sun and baboon, or rising sun and the serpent. So remember those things because they belong to her symbolism as well. So this, oh, I forgot to put now the, look the how do you call this, scepter? How do you pronounce that?
Scepter.
Scepter. She has scepter. Very difficult to see that on her right hand there is a scepter, and on the left, no, I'm sorry, it is the opposite because I turned that around. Yes, it is on the right hand, I have turned this image around. So on the right hand, she has the ankh, and on the left hand, she has the scepter. And the scepter, on the top of it, it has the head of ibis. And you see the Thoth, the god Thoth, which is the wisdom god. So again, we see that the Isis is about wisdom as well. So that's why she has this scepter of wisdom, and Pallas Athena had the spear of knowledge. So they have this similar type of connections. And now the Pallas Athena. Oh, I'm sorry.
We have a couple of comments.
Okay.
From Anne Veronica, she says she battled with carecrops and she won with the olive tree for the city of Athens.
Right.
Okay.
So that was about Pallas Athena. Thank you. And what was the other comment?
That was it.
Okay. So anyway, now you see Isis there, that she has this interesting rattle sistrum in her hand. And that was something which is related to sound, which I don't remember. Yes, there are those goddesses like Saraswati, which are related to sound, but Isis has particular way of affecting the planes with the sound. And she was using these rattle, which is about the sound of the serpent, the rattlesnake. So she was using that in order to break through, and she had these magical powers. When she was gaining the name or revealing the name of Ra, the sun, she was using also this rattle or sistrum. Michael, which one in English is like, because for me these names are not saying almost anything. So sistrum, the sistrum or rattle, what is the difference of them?
A rattle is something you shake and it makes a noise.
Yeah, what is
It's
sistrum?
like a rattlesnake, and it's called a rattle, and that's all.
But sistrum is one of them. The name of this rattle is sistrum.
I don't know about that.
So it's only the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about
Right. So, looking at the Isis is Sirius. So wherever Sirius is in your chart, it is found in Cancer. And what degree it is nowadays?
14 or 15.
Still 14.
I can find out.
Yeah. So anyway, when I was born, so 61 years ago, it was 14 degrees and something. And I just wonder that is
72 degrees, 1 degree every 72 years. One degree every 72 years.
so in 10 years it is already 1 degree. So I guess so it's very near 15 degrees.
Find out in just a second.
So anyway, there is your Syrian influence around 15 degrees of Cancer. And those magical powers, which are really, really the powers of third degree. Because in the third degree, DK tells us how only then the disciple starts to respond consciously to Syrian energies. And do you remember how it was called? The third degree is called what? Initiation. Oh, yes, how it was related to Sirius. Do you remember? First. Right, so it is the Syrian threshold initiation. So when the two first initiations are this threshold initiation, so they are the threshold initiation in Syrian system. So they are, the third degree is look like the first degree in our system. So that's why the Sirius, this third degree is, for us it is a huge achievement, but from the perspective of Sirius, it's only coming to the front door.
So, Tuija,
Yes.
Isis is now at 14 Cancer and 19. And I think when you were born and I was born, he was in 13 something.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
really? So then I was remembering the latest information.
Yeah.
Oh, it has been 13. Okay. Right, and because the oppose of Sirius is then Vega. So there is this kind of magical line in Capricorn, there is Vega. It's interesting. It is related to the falling falcon is related to the Sagittarius, but the Vega in falling falcon is in Capricorn around the same degree opposing Sirius. So that is creating a magical line. And as you remember, so one sign is like these two signs, the opposing signs. We should always consider the other. There is very, very strong angle or axis in the chart for magic and for incantations, for sounding, for mantras. And this symbolism of Isis, Sirius, is telling that Sirius has certain relationship, very strong relationship to the sound, which is coming into a great activity in the 3rd degree. Is there any questions? Uh-huh. Aha, rattle, that's right, Ra.
Ra of rattle. Interesting.
Yeah,
Ra of ray of the sun, too.
yes, Ra is the sun.
Ra ray, you see.
Ra Re, that's right.
Ra ray, yeah. And also remember that Sirius and Vega will always be opposite each other.
That's right.
For a long, long time.
Yeah.
But they will continue to change sign as the precession works.
Goes, right.
So, every 2,100 years, they'll be in different signs. Moving, I suppose, forward. It looks like forward. They're moving forward.
It's very nice that they are moving forward. But thinking about these accesses, because for us it is important to start to look scientifically, because these are the scientific facts. These energies are affecting us. If we evolve and if we are really able to be quiet, as Egyptians were saying, they were very strong in that. The way of Maat was that you are always in harmony with the universe. Everything what surrounds you, you were supposed to be in harmony. That's why you were studying everything, all the movements, what was happening in the skies, that you were in time, in correct moment. And that is about the knowledge which is in somewhat missing in disciples. Because we are, even though we are very precise in West with the timings, but in the spiritual timings, we tend to go more via the comfort, that we don't want to wake up when it is the exact moments, but they are exactly then. These energies are hitting exactly then. So let us try to cultivate our understanding why we should be there. And now, for today, when it is this particular and important time of the year, which is related to Sirius so strongly, that understand that there is this relationship with the Sirius and Vega all the time, which are emphasizing for us the possibility to really use words, use them. How it is in your chart doing. I tried to now, today we are together, it should be announced loudly?
Loudly.
Yeah. in order, because we are human beings and we are the throat center of the planetary God. So that's why we should say everything aloud. So remember that during the full moon. Somehow we try to do that. But when we study still about the Isis and these all stories, the mothers around the world, you see that there is only one story. There is not only Mary who got the Christ. All these mothers have got baby, and then there is the story of resurrection. There are fights, and then there is the victory of that being, the divine who is descending in the matter. So it is with Isis and her child Horus. And here you see the other image of that Horus. On the left side, the falcon is the sun, and Osiris is in the center. I don't know why it is on the pedestal, this, because maybe this is actually indicating all that how Osiris was rising. So the story goes, if someone does not know, that Osiris was murdered and he was cut in 14 pieces. So Isis, the wife, lost her husband, and she's mourning. And actually those days were last week. The 17th, 18th and 19th are those magical days, and I have been wanting to have our thing happening, the mystery week, during these days. And let us see next week, because it is really calling me. So there is the morning of the Isis, which is called the night of the drop. The drops, the teardrops, what is dropping from the eye of Isis. And I should have this image where you see this Egyptian eye, and you see those lines which are coming from the eye. They are the teardrops of Isis. And where she is mourning. So there is the dark night when nothing is happening. And then comes that night when Isis is sewing Osiris together, and then there is the resurrection of Isis. So this time, which is related to Leo, is the time of resurrection as well. And look, when you think about Aries, which is trining the Leo, so there is in that fire line, there is really something going on, what disciples should start to understand, the mystery of the soul, how it is working throughout the year. So we should meditate these things when these days are at present. And when it is happening, the Nile is flooding. So that was for Egyptians the moment, because then Sirius was rising from the horizon. So Sirius is for a while away, and when the Sirius the first time is coming, then the heat is coming, the heat waves are coming, and that's why it is called Sirius, the Isis, the scorcher. Right, is that the word, scorcher?
Scorcher.
Yes, because it is burning everything. But then the water was rising, and then the new growth was coming from because the Nile was flooding. And Egyptians were considering that, we can actually put that Orion, which is Osiris, that in Orion came this kind of wave through the cosmos, which was the cosmic Nile. And that made the Nile in the land flood, and the new growth was coming. And when the new growth was appearing, that was the resurrecting Osiris. And of course, this resurrecting Osiris is about the person of the disciple, the candidate who is able to go through this, the whole mystery of the soul on earth, and really resurrecting oneself. which is then related to the fourth decree. So,
yeah, Tuija, you mentioned Aries and Leo, and they're both connected with the seventh plane of resurrection, both of them.
right,
Leo rules that plane, and Aries is the resurrection, and it's number one.
right.
So they're both connected there with Uranus somehow.
Right. And this is the story of us. You know, that's why these myths have been telling about this story of humanity throughout the centuries and millions of years, because that is the story of us. We are resurrected one day. So when we now think about, gosh, we have only 5 minutes. So, Michael, can you just put that forward?
I did.
Okay. So now we just again continue these ideas. As I told you the first day, that when I am studying these goddesses, for me they are some parts of the story of the solar angels. So Isis have the wings. Can you put the second one? I will skip certain things now. So, and here you see, look, in the symbolism again, you see the owl. So, Isis has also owl. It appears everywhere, in India, in Tibet, in Egypt, in the southern Africa, in South America, in the north. The owl is the secret sign of the feminine wisdom, and for me it is the secret sign of initiation. When the owl is coming, then it is indicating something that now this process is starting. So here we see now about the symbolism what I wanted to make for you. Michael, just skip that and go to this image.
Okay, just the next
The three.
Next one.
Yeah. So here you see the 3 goddesses, and from where to recognize who are they. They are all important in this process of initiation. So first one is Nephthys, which is the sister of Isis. You see on the top of her head there is this kind of, how do you call that, a chalice, because she is the one who is carrying the dead to the land of living. So she takes care of the souls. But there is the mystery of the initiation, as I told you, that these thrones have this secret door. And you see on the right corner of that leg of the chalice, there is again this door. I cannot go deeper into that, but do you see the scepter is about lotus flower, and that is telling about the birth. I would love to tell more, but it is anyway related to birth. On the lotus flower there are 4 children, and they are like 4 ethers. So it is the telling about the rulership over the ethers. More I cannot say now. Then the second one is Maat, and you see the feather of truth, the feather of ostrich on the head of Maat, and then you see Sirius, the sister of Nephthys, who has the throne. So these two sisters are in the process of initiation. So whenever the initiation is taking place, Isis and Nephthys are involved, and Maat is always the eternal law. According to Maat, one has to live. It is the eternal harmony, that one is not supposed to disturb the harmony of the universe. And that's why the art of living was so highly developed in Egypt in that early time when the priesthood was not corrupted. The next one I quickly say, there is Inanna from Chaldean mythology. So Inanna on the right, and you see also she has the wings. So all of that tells me about the stories, the old stories of the solar angels. And she too has the eagle as the lion. I told you the first day, but keep that in your mind. I will tell you that a little bit later. We have some images about that. So we skip, Michael, now the next one, and we come to that about this initiation process when the 14 pieces are put together. It's the resurrection of Osiris. And this resurrection of Osiris is really related to that process of the fourth decree, but also what starts to happen in the third decree, that we are starting to really put the scattered personality together. In the third decree we become like a soul-infused personality in the pre-stages of that. That is not completed, of course, but it is on the way. So this process, what starts now, is the impulse from the Sirius B. Nephthys is appearing as the eye. And do you see there, you see these tears which are coming from the eye? It is called eye of Horus, but it is actually Sirius B. Nephthys as in the form of eye. And Osiris is the one who is sitting on the throne, and you see the throne, again the door of initiation there on the left side. So these pictorial symbolism is very clear in Egyptian mythologies if we have time to study them. I just go through quite quickly. Actually, we should elaborate them more in one point, but just for you to look at how many things are pointing out about Sirius and Isis in your chart, that you should study that point and what kinds of relationships it is forming. That is the whole story about that is pointing out the third decree and further on. So this is one of the knots of Isis, which is the magical powers, which is about the welfare of life, but which is very interesting. It was also related to water, the knot of water. And when you think about astral plane, so it's like that knot is closing now. You have gained the power over the waters, and then you have the knot that this water cannot open that knot because you have the control over it. There are other knots related to Isis as well. And there you see Isis have different ways. On the right you have the image of this belt, what she has, or status. And they have the different ways of the knots. And Mary Magdalene has several times ties how the knot is tied. Very interesting. But now the last point where I really wanted to go is about the resurrection of Osiris and how Isis is related to that. Letter L is one of the secrets of initiation. So when we are in the two first initiations of the threshold, the first and second decree, we are in horizontal level. And then you see there on the left side, you see Osiris, who is resurrecting in the 45 degrees. So that is the third decree. And when Osiris is in the upright position, the forming then the full El, then that is the fourth decree. He is the ruler of the life. Osiris is the god of underworld, and so are the other gods and deities, but not Isis. Isis was the sun daughter, or the daughter of the sun, meaning the from the higher rank. That's why I was saying that Isis is like from the different ranks than the others. So she represents directly the powers of the sun through her. That's why she knows the name of Ra. No other goddesses or gods knew the name of Ra. And of course we know about our teaching that Sirius is the teacher for our solar system. But you see that also from the mythology, the same thing. Here you see in different ways. The second image from above, you see on the left side the eye, Nephthys, and on the right side you see Isis. But then on the above you see two falcons where Osiris is. The other falcon is the Horus, but the other falcon is Nephthys. So she is appearing also as falcon. But then for us to look, I have been telling you about this, how important is Leo states for human evolution. You see that the Osiris is on the bench, which is in the form of a lion. And that is about our personality. So the personality has to be strong lion in order these higher initiations to really take place, or whatever initiation. The body must be, the vehicle of the body has to be strong, but also our mind has to be strong, that we are not becoming mad because of these energies. So I just skip these, it's already 10 past. But going to the text, which is so beautiful. And so was Death friendly, and told him a secret way to initiation, by way of the sun, the path of moon being a lesser way, leading to reincarnational recycling after death, whereas the solar golden path led to freedom. So the god of death, according to the myths of Egypt, and also to the relationship to these initiations, ceremonies and the processes, is done by Pluto. And we know how Pluto is important, indicating when the process of initiation is starting and these challenges and tests. Here you see Pluto, the god of death, preparing Osiris to go through these processes of death. So he is carrying first Osiris into the halls of Maat. And in the halls of Maat we are going to be weighed. And then there, after this weighing and after this testing, again Sirius is appearing. So all of this is starting when the goddess Sirius, Isis, is like indicating this process. But when Osiris is killed, which is indicating that process of us, the fourth decree really. But when we reflect that to the third decree, there will come the moment of that we will feel like we are dead, that there is nothing what is helping us, we are losing things, we are in pieces. And then comes the power of the soul, who starts to to sound these magical mantras and the magic of healing, because the Isis is called also the healer. Isis has all of those magical great powers, spiritual powers. That's why all the other gods and goddesses were looking towards Isis, because she was so powerful. And then comes this rebuilding process, and then we are built again. We are transfigured in the third decree, and then in the fourth decree we are resurrected. So what I wanted to say with all of this, the mythological background, and much more should be said, but study the Isis, study Pallas Athena in your chart, and go deeper into that, because they are really telling us a lot of things what we should be seeing, and I think what has been really veiled from us unnecessarily, because we have not been just discovering how important it is. Is there any questions? Or are there any questions? What are you laughing at, Eha?
Is there any question? I find everything.
I think, that it tells us how important is the local cosmic Christ and Sirius's position in these 7 solar systems, in which our sun is a heart center. It takes it right beyond our solar system to the immediately next elevated being. And it's just the source of all advancement for humanity at this time. And the Egyptians caught it. They got it.
They knew so much, absolutely. But if we think about that we would not go yet to the 7 solar systems, but to this immediate moment of us, it is worthwhile to study asteroids. It's worthwhile of studying Sirius in our own chart, and really look that, because there is the point of a direct point of initiation. These energies are pouring into our system, whom we are in our microcosm, through those points, and whatever they will affect, that is a scientific fact. And the astrology for us is the only way to see those great moments. It's the only tool for us. Of course, we can take these, how do you call the powder of coffee, and throw that on the floor, or use whatever, any other tool. But the astrological chart is the scientific fact for those exact moments for a particular person. And we cannot know any other way. Or do you know any other way? What would be so powerful and really based upon reality? Okay, the group here is totally quiet. They are beautifully smiling to me. Michael, I'm sure that you would like to say something very wise in relationship to this.
We have a man here who is, he's been writing some interesting things, and he said the Egyptians also thought the earth was flat, but what I have
Excuse
to say,
me, I didn't hear.
the earth was flat. But
Well,
what I
that's
have to
right,
say
yeah.
is that the priests knew a lot better. And when they told Herodotus all about the history of the earth, they knew some amazing things about the 3.5 cycles. There are, certain planets that change their polar orientation, and they actually bow towards the sun.
That's
Now,
right.
take a look at Uranus right now. Uranus is in the middle of that bow, and is slightly below the ecliptic in the orientation of its pole. And Venus is already almost 180 degrees from the upright position. So there's always the question of what we think exoterically that certain religions advance, and then the inner knowledge also belongs to these hierophants, and they've been around a long time. You know, according to Blavatsky, we have the pyramids at an age of 70,000 years, or more.
Yeah, longer.
And the Egyptian group is related to the second subrace of the fifth root race, and the Chaldeans were said to exist 450,000 years ago. So what this is telling us is that we have a very, very ancient culture here that absorbed much of the wisdom of Atlantis. And of course, things always degenerate.
Yeah.
From the esoteric to the exoteric.
And that is
happens.
right. When we think about what happened, that is a fact that the whole culture was corrupted, and so it was in the Southern America as well. So in Rome, we see it is happening nowadays in the West. So we cannot avoid this tendency in humanity, in human beings, how we are, whatever glorious time we have or states, and then because of that, maybe that is the pull from the inner planes to pull then now less advanced souls to incarnate, and that is a challenge. Also, when the time of the war was in Atlantean times, T.K. talks about that when the group of moon chainers were incarnating, it was too much over the young Earth humanity. They couldn't carry the weight of these what was coming with the souls of from moon chain, because they were more advanced, but they had also more lower tendencies, and because this young humanity was they couldn't know the difference. So it is always, and it is always about the interpreter as well. So we have to develop the eyes to see the connections. We have developed already the eyes who is separative eye. We can know and we can see what is not correct or what is not something appealing spiritually, but then we have to develop also that those things what was stored, like this teaching was stored, it was coming directly from the ibis those times. So that's why we still have in Egypt these pictorial knowledge, the pictorial the stories, the allegories, which are really worthwhile to study.
It's the the rays of Vulcan. Excuse me. First ray, fourth ray, seventh ray, and Egypt has so much of this fourth ray. There is a group called the Brotherhood of Luxor, and if you read Jeffrey Hodson, Light in the Sanctuary, he talks about three of the masters in the Brotherhood of Luxor. They're on the fourth ray. And the pictorial representation of the truth is, I'm not saying it's uniquely Egyptian, but it's beautifully Egyptian. And it has a way of conveying to the intuition what is the truth. Now, it took a long time before those hieroglyphs could be interpreted, but what it meant was priestly writing. That's what it meant. Hero, holy priestly writing. And now it's become more and more, and it's going to be revealed more and more. You know, I don't know how many of you have ever read The Hidden Wisdom of the Holy Bible. It comes out of the Brotherhood of Luxor. And Master Serapis Bey is part of that. And a certain Master P, Polydorus Isuranius is his name, and then comes an Englishman by the name of Robert Ward. Those are three prominent, and people. And the fourth ray is going to be emerging from its monadic aspects very strong, so we can expect that Egypt will be playing, the wisdom of Egypt will again be resurrected.
Well, if we think about the advanced school is going to be,
Yes.
the most occult school is
Very
going to
occult
be.
school in Egypt, probably on the first ray. And then there's that one in Western China. It will also be extremely occult.
Yes, so thinking about Master Serapis, there was this Serapis in Egyptian times who was as famous as Jesus is for us, but his writings are not stored. They were only oracle, and that's why there are only little ripples that has been able to be stored and can be followed. But anyway, he is at the moment preparing the meeting of humanity and angel kingdom.
Master Serapis, right?
Master Serapis. So
yes,
that
yeah.
there is very many connections to him in these myths, and he was one of those whose symbol was the serpent, as the serpent has been also one of the symbols of Isis. So, and he was called also the bull. I don't remember what was the name of that, but he was also called as bull. So this whole bull symbolism, that should be also put together one day, because there are so many bulls with those deities, and they are indicating many things in the story of the creation story of the Egypt. It is said that in one point, Keb on the back of the bull, Apis bull, is walking back to the sun, which is telling about the end of the earth. Geb is earth. So there is relationship the Taurus and our planet Earth. So maybe in that process, when the Earth is dissilating, what's the word when you're going into abstraction? So
Yes,
maybe that is related.
pratyahara, or abstraction, or withdrawal.
So maybe then Taurus is really strongly involved to that process. At least that is the story by Egyptians.
There are so many hidden things, but knowledge given to us, if we are not ready for it, is a dangerous thing. I mean, even recently, the power of the fifth ray ashram had to be withdrawn from 1950 to about the year 2000, and we still don't know if it is withdrawn, because man was just learning too fast, and it wasn't keeping up, or let's say his moral nature, his relationship nature was not keeping up with the knowledge. So hierarchy has to balance everything very wisely. Mm-hmm. We can be flooded with knowledge, mm-hmm. but it can undo us if we don't know how to use it, you know.
So
Yeah.
maybe we will now close. Actually, we should have been having our at 5 o'clock thing. Maybe we have here now. So anyway, if any one of you who are there following us, if you want to be with us, we just have this short moment aligning for the coming full moon. But if you need to go, we just thank you that you were with us. We will continue just a few minutes.
Which slide is that, please?
There is no, that is that slide.
Okay.
I don't have any ending
All right, very
slide.
good.
Okay, and we align with the group. And we align with our triangles. We visualize the sacred pentagram. we see the blue rose inside the pentagram. That indicating this dance in the heavens done by the planet Venus, Sri Lakshmi. We sound our name once. And we prepare ourselves for the coming full moon, which is now about 6 hours. Very powerful, important full moon for all of us and for humanity. When we have the strong connection with the star Sirius, the star of initiation, the star of Mercury, as also Tibetan calls, and the Mercury is taught in Egyptian myth, the one who is the giver of letters, or letter, the word for humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. Center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you for everybody. So now we will have a little break. But there is again change in our program. We will come back 9:45 Finnish time, and it is 6:45 p.m. GMT. And then we will have this kind of alignment again with the Blue Rose group, which is the sacred pentagram approach to full moon. Tibetan is talking about these approaches to reality. So these are meant for us to understand about the reality, what is on the other side, towards what we should go and establish in our lives. We should become very conscious, and that's why the full moon times, when the hierarchy is really working towards humanity, we should be aligned with them and be available to be used. So that's why let us gather together again 9:45 Finnish time, 6:45 GMT, and if there is not anything else, we just say goodbye from Finland. Do we have anything? Everybody is just smiling nicely. Michael?
Melting.
We are melting, yes.
Melting.
So you don't have anything, Michael? Okay.
Fine, and then we'll get into the full moon.
We are now going to go into silence here, that whomever would like to practice this kind of approach to full moon and use that time and refresh one's mind. Right. Okay, bye-bye.